I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
Hi. Oh, thank you.
I did start to fall asleep again. This is disturbing. This is wildly disturbing. I had a totally normal idea that I wanted to do a 24-hour reading marathon, but then I decided last minute that I'm gonna try to get through some of my horror TBR. So we're gonna be reading strictly horrors and thrillers today. Why? I don't know, mind your business. Welcome to my personal hell. So everyone does these a little bit differently. I'm just gonna read as much as I can between 8 a.m. and 8 a.m. Without further ado, let's get into the stack. I'm actually really excited about some of the books that I have. I do have like everything from like, mystery thrillers to, serial killers, cannibals, like there's a little bit of everything in the horror genre. Physically, the books that I have that we can choose from, I have a couple of shorter novellas. I've recently been on a Nat Cassidy kick. I have loved every single other book. Mary and When the Wolf Comes Home specifically were like 6-star reads for me. So I did get his little novella Rest Stop. This will be a good one, I think, just if I get stuck along the way and I would need like a quick, I don't know, it just feels good to check a book off. So like this might be helpful for that. And then in that same vein, I have Goddess of Filth, which is like seances, demons by V. Castro. So I've been wanting to read this. I bought this recently. Pen Pal, which I've heard is very scary. Well, I've heard it's really depressing. I don't know about scary. We'll find out. Black Farm, someone on TikTok had recommended this as being like a pretty freaky book. So I got that as well. Blood on Her Tongue, which is a new book this year. Vampires, gothic horror. I have another gothic horror, which is Starving Saints. This one is Cannibals, and I've been wanting to read this since it came out and I just haven't picked it up yet. So maybe we'll get to that today. And then the last 3 physical books I have Burn the Negative by Josh Winning, found film kind of horror. And then I have never read a Riley Sager book, but I picked up 2 that I thought sounded interesting just to give them a try. So I got The House Across the Lake. I can't read, and yet I'm doing a reading challenge. Anyways, I got House Across the Lake. This sounded really interesting. A chick is like spying on her neighbors and getting involved in their drama. And then Final Girls, which was just like very on brand. But yeah, that's kind of the physical stack. I'm currently in the middle of Local Woman Missing, so we're probably gonna start by finishing that today. I am really enjoying that. I'm 53% of the way through Local Woman Missing. So this book has been pretty good. It's like a multiple POVs, multiple timelines mystery. So women and children are going missing in this neighborhood and they're trying to figure out like, are they related in some way? And you as the reader are uncovering more and more details about what happened by like the back and forth of like when it happened and 11 years later and when it happened and 11 years later from different perspectives. So it's really interesting and actually pretty easy to follow. Sometimes multiple POVs can get a little bit confusing, but I'm really enjoying this one. So that's the stack. That's what we're getting into today. I love a good plot twist. I also just really enjoy these. I love multiple POVs and I really have been learning about myself that I also really like multiple timelines. Like I really enjoy, it's like, there's a TikToker who calls it crack format. It really does. It's like every little chapter is like a cliffhanger, because then you're switching to someone else's perspective and then you learn a little bit more from them and then you go back to another person's perspective and you learn a little bit more from them, and it's just really hard to stop. But I really like, I like where this book is headed. This shit's crazy. It's more like neighborhood drama than anything, but yeah, 100 pages left. We've been reading for an hour and 17 minutes, so we're making good time. Let's get back into it. I guess we still have to kind of learn like what's up with the little girl that went missing, because that feels like it's connected but also not connected. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. That is so wildly fucked up. It's constant. There's constant shit happening in this book. What is happening?
Hi. Oh, thank you. Oh, yep. Hi, puppy.
What's up? Coming to say hello? Oh, okay, you're laying down. Yeah, okay. He's a snuggle-roo. Huh? You a snuggle-roo? Huh? Okay. Just wrapped up Local Woman Missing. I would give it like a 3.75. Definitely very addictive. Couldn't put it down. Plot twists were really good. I really enjoyed this book. I would probably check out some more books by this author. We have been reading now for 2 hours and 13 minutes. So it took about the amount of time I thought it was going to take for me to read this. So I need to quickly make myself something to eat. It's 10:13 and I still have not had breakfast. And then we will pick our next book from the stack. Okay, so we have finished book one. I took about 20 minutes to eat and now it's time to pick our next book. I'm thinking I want to save some of the ones that are supposed to be like scarier for like this evening, I think. So I think the next one I might want to read is maybe one of these novellas or maybe Pen Pal, because this one's like a little bit on the shorter side as well. And then that way we can like guarantee we start something else later. Like maybe we do Burn the Negative, or I'm almost thinking like later we do The Black Farm, just kind of depending on how I'm feeling. So like between these, what am I in the mood for? This one seems like it's going to be kind of traumatic. Like literally on the back of this book, it says each chapter completes a different piece of the puzzle for both you and the narrator. And by the end of it all, you will wish you could forget what he never knew. So I don't know, this sounds pretty like fucked up. This one sounds fun. Like, well, not fun. Like I don't want what's happening in this book to happen to me, but it sounds fun because it's like a group of people get together to do a seance and then all of a sudden one of their friends who is like typically shy and modest starts acting real out of pocket. I'm into that. And then like I said earlier, I am on a Nat Cassidy kick. Part of me wants to read this just because I know I love Nat Cassidy's writing and like it looks creepy. Look, let's do Rest Stop. I think this is the one I'm the most excited to read and I really want to keep up the momentum of not being bored by a book because the last one I was reading was super crack. So kind of want to keep that up. So yeah, let's dive into Rest Stop by Nat Cassidy. There is a page of trigger warnings. Heads up, this story contains a lot of bug stuff. I fucking hate bugs. Snake stuff, face trauma, religious trauma, anti-Semitism, claustrophobia, existential angst, a little suicidal ideation. You might also get some yacht rock stuck in your head, but no need to thank me for that. Ooh, I like the chapter pages. All right, here we go, let's dive in. Okay, so I am 72 pages into Rest Stop. This book, this is disturbing. This is wildly disturbing. I won't give too much, but essentially, I mean, the book is called Rest Stop, but essentially he's like trapped in this nightmare. He stops in the middle of the night and there's like bugs and snakes. I mean, we read the warning together. Excuse me. Like super, super gory. I don't usually get like the heebie-jeebies from a book. Like I did a little bit from The Troop by Nick Cutter. Like that book had some like gross body horror, but this book is icking me out just a little bit. So yeah, that's an update. I would say we're like half done. I have no idea where this is gonna go, but I don't feel like it's gonna have a good ending. I do not feel like it's gonna have a good ending, but we'll see what happens. What? Oh, God. Okay. All right, Abe. Oh, this is really descriptive gore. I'm not mad at it, but holy motherfuck. Okay, so I just finished Rest Stop. Took me about 2 hours to read. Had to take my dog out, so I'm just including, you know, the full amount of time it took. This book was pretty good. Honestly, I really like Nat Cassidy's writing just in general, but this book was pretty nasty. Like the cover is not lying. I also really enjoy books that have like a religious trauma element, or like a, you know, you were raised one way and how is that impact. I enjoy those types of books, and this had that element as well. The main character is Jewish. I'm kind of like dealing with that. So I thought this was really good. I would definitely recommend it. I would say I'm going to give it like a 3.75-ish, 3.5, 3.75. So moving on, we're going to pick our next book. Maybe we do my first Riley Sager book. Casey Fletcher, a recently widowed actress trying to escape a streak of bad press, has retreated to the peace and quiet of her family's lake house in Vermont. Armed with a pair of binoculars and several bottles of bourbon, she passes the time watching Tom and Catherine, the glamorous couple living across the lake. They make for good viewing. One day on the lake, Casey saves Catherine from drowning, and the two strike up a budding friendship. But the more they get to know each other and the longer Casey watches, it becomes clear that Catherine and Tom's marriage isn't as perfect as it appears. When Catherine suddenly vanishes, Casey immediately suspects Tom of foul play. What she doesn't realize is that there's more to the story than meets the eye, and that shocking secrets can lurk beneath the most placid of surfaces. Does sound really good. So maybe that one. We could also do Final Girls. So 10 years ago, 6 friends went on a vacation. One made it out alive. In that instant, college student Quincy became a member of a very exclusive club, a group of survivors the press dubbed the Final Girls. Lisa, who lost 9 sorority sisters, Sam, who endured the sack man during her shift at the Nightlight Inn, and now Quincy, who ran bleeding through the woods to escape the massacre at Pine Cottage. Despite the media's attempts, the 3 girls have never met. Now Quincy is doing well, maybe even great thanks to her Xanax prescription. She has a caring almost fiance, a popular baking blog, a beautiful apartment, and a therapeutic presence in Coop, the police officer who saved her life. Her mind won't let her recall the events of that night. The past is the past until the last final girl found dead in her bathtub and the second final girl appears on Quincy's doorstep. Flowing through Quincy's life like a hurricane, Sam seems intent on making her relive the trauma of her ordeal. When disturbing details about Lisa's death emerge, Quincy desperately tries to unravel Sam's truth from her lies while evading both the police and bloodthirsty reporters. Quincy knows that in order to survive, she has to remember what really happened at Pine Cottage, because the only thing worse than being a final girl is being a dead one. Okay, I'm really intrigued by this one, I think. I don't know if I'm really in the mood for like a gothic horror today. And I don't want to get caught reading a book. I love gothic horror. I just don't think I'm in the mood for it. So I think that kind of takes The Starving Saints and Blood on Her Tongue off the table just for today. Definitely still want to read them at some point. I just don't think they're going to be for today. Let's just go with it. Let's go with Final Girls. I'm gonna read Final Girls by Riley Sager here next. Wish me luck. Okay, I'm about 25 pages in. It is 1:17 p.m. and I was starting to fall asleep on the couch. So I need to move a little bit. I'm gonna get myself a little snack and then we'll dive back in, because we can't be taking long ass naps during our 24-hour reading marathon. Okay, switching up where I'm reading, because that couch out there is far too comfortable. This one is far less comfortable. So I'm gonna read in here for a little bit to see how much further I can get before my ass starts to go numb. So back in we go. It is, what time is it? 3:45 in the afternoon. I've been reading since 8 and I am 150 pages through Final Girls. So far, this being my first impression of Riley Sager, I don't dislike his writing and I like the plot of this so far. There's a couple of things I'm like a little bit confused about, but I think it's gonna, hopefully it all comes together. But anyways, that is my update. I'm going to try to see how much more I can get through this in the next few hours. And then depending on how I'm feeling and what time it is, I'm thinking we're gonna make like a pot of coffee and try to like power through into the evening to try to read as much as possible, because yeah, I really want to try to finish this and maybe one more book. Like, is she into the cop? I think that's what's confusing me. Like, I don't know, I'm just like getting like jealous vibes, but it could be like daddy issue. I don't really know. I don't know. So this is weird so far. Quinn's relationship with Coop. I can't figure it out. I knew that this was coming. I fucking knew it. Okay, it is like 5:30. I am on page 257 of like 340. So we are getting there. I did start to fall asleep again. Pulled it together. Help. I'm enjoying this. I do think the main character is kind of doing some dumb shit, but you know what? That happens. It happens. We can't love all the main characters in the books that we read. But the shit that just happened on page 257, I called it. So if you know, you know. 257, Final Girls by Riley Sager. Fucking called that shit. I just wrapped up Final Girls by Riley Sager. I would give this 3.5 stars. I really liked it. I was wrong about what I thought the plot twist was. Also, that's good. The main character was like kind of annoying, but also like had been through a lot, so I'm gonna cut her some slack. And I ultimately think like by the end of it, I liked her. And then like the side characters were all very interesting as well. So we are officially, we'll say 2.5 books, because I was midway through the first one I finished. This was the second full book I've read today. So now we need to pick our next book. So I'm gonna grab the stack really quick, and we're gonna do that before I maybe grab something to munch on. Okay, so it took me like 15 minutes. I was just like looking at the books I have on my Kindle, because I think I'd really like to be reading on my Kindle so that if I want to go lay down, I can read without disturbing my husband. And I was just reading descriptions to refresh my mind, because a lot of times I have books on here from like the library where I'm like, I don't know what that book is. And so I reread the description for One Perfect Couple, and it just sounds like a good summer horror. And from the looks of it, it sounds like it's gonna be like fast paced. So it's basically like a high tension thriller, follows 5 couples trapped on a storm-swept island as a killer stalks them. And it's basically a reality TV show on an island. So like, that sounds perfect. So that's what we're gonna read. Not at all any of the other books that I was kind of deliberating between, but I think this one sounds fun. I'm excited about it. So we are gonna get started with that. It is 6:55, so I took a little bit of time there to determine the book, but I really just didn't want to get stuck with something I wasn't enjoying, because if I spend like 2 hours and I'm like, I don't want to read this, I'm not gonna want to start something else at that point, like at like 9 o'clock. So that's where my head is at. So I'm getting it downloaded on my Kindle now. I'm gonna grab something to eat. We're gonna get comfy, maybe go wash my face and get back at it. Hi. Oh, thank you. Yep. Thank you. Those were so nice. Okay. Are you just standing guard? Guard dog. Part 1, the calm. Do we think part 2 is gonna be called the storm?
Oh shit.
I am officially getting sleepy. It is 8:05. And so I'm making my husband come with me to Starbucks, and we're gonna get some cookies, so I'm taking a little break.
I need cookies.
He needs cookies.
For sure.
Gotta get the man some
Cookie
cookies.
monster.
Okay, going to Starbucks took way longer than we anticipated it, because the line was super long, but I have my venti double shot. We did get cookies, but it is 9:12, so I lost a little over an hour of reading time. So I'm just gonna do my best. We're gonna stay up as late as we can. And yeah, we got cookies. That's my evening, so I guess we're gonna just get right into it. Also, I had a mild panic attack, because as we're sitting in the Starbucks line, I get a notification from Libby saying my book was due, and I panicked because I didn't realize that. And luckily it didn't have any people waiting on it, so I was able to recheck it out, but I was like, damn, I'm about to have to buy this Kindle book because I'm committed to the bit.
An episode of
No, you're not.
If you beat my wife again, I'm scared.
Miss you. Just wanted to say I called it, and part 2 is called The Storm. So, you know, I am about 31% of the way through this book, and it is 10:07. The coffee is kicking in, so I think I've got a little bit more time in me, so wish me luck. Okay, so I'm about 45% of the way through this book, and despite there being 2 shots of espresso in that coffee, I'm exhausted. So I am gonna call it a night. I might try to read maybe just a little bit more in my bed since it is on the Kindle, but like that way I can just casually fall asleep when I'm ready to. I'm gonna try to just wake up. It says I have like, let me double check, a little over 3 hours left in this book according to the Kindle. So I'm gonna try to wake up and finish this before 8 a.m. but if I don't, hey, we still made pretty good progress. So yeah, good night, see you in the morning. Good morning. I was able to read a little bit more in bed last night. I did sleep in more than I intended. It's almost 7, so I have about an hour and 10 minutes left in my 24 hours. So, you know, not gonna stress out too much about it. I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish this book. I'll probably finish it today, but I don't think I'll be able to finish it in my 24 hours. The shit got real really quick on the island. I do enjoy some trashy reality TV, so it's interesting to like read about it. That's not something I've ever done before. So Kindle says I'm 46% of the way through with about 3 hours left of reading. So again, obviously not finishing it this morning in my 24 hours, but we're just gonna see how much more we can get through. So here we go. I've got coffee brewing. My husband is still asleep. Dog is fed and walked. So we're good to chill for another hour here. So like the back of the book alludes to there being like a serial killer or something on the island. That hasn't started happening right now. It's very much giving like Lost. I didn't watch Lost, but like that's about people like crash landing on an island, right? And now they're just like trying to figure out how they're gonna survive. That's what it's giving me right now. Like they're just in like survival mode and shit is wrecked. So that's interesting. And at 46%, I'm very intrigued to see when this serial killer is gonna like, or not serial killer, killer. 24 hours is officially up. We touched 4 books. We read 2 full books. We got through Rest Stop and Final Girls. And then we also finished up Local Woman Missing. And we got about 70% of the way through One Perfect Couple, which I am really enjoying so far. That was I would say a successful 24-hour marathon. I think I need to like maybe get some scarier books. I don't know, horror games. I play a lot of video games. Scare the shit out of me because it's very like immersive and you feel like you're actually going through what's in the game because of the visual element. But like I guess like Rest Stop is really the only like true horror book I think I read, because Final Girls was like slashery but also just sort of more of like mystery, like more like what's going on kind of thing, like you're trying to figure out the truth behind the story. One Perfect Couple is kind of the same thing, where it's sort of feeling like we're just trying to figure out what's going on so far. And Local Woman Missing was like a domestic thriller, so like a neighborhood drama thriller. And so I wanted to read something really scary. Like I probably should have like dove into one of these 3 books that I have, but maybe next time we'll do like horror only. Like we'll stick to true horror. Because I wanted to feel afraid and I didn't feel afraid. Honestly, I don't think I've had a book make me feel afraid yet. I don't know, maybe that's a goal. I need to find a book that actually scares me, because I do enjoy being scared. Is there something wrong with me? I don't know. Okay, well that's it. That wraps up my 24-hour marathon. Let's do it again sometime.